Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
After last week's uncertainty, drivers will be looking forward to a straightforward fuel mileage race. Well, they hope, anyway, at one of North America's most famous road courses. It's the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series, presented by Racing Revolution. We are here at Watkins Glen this evening. You can see it in the backdrop. It will be a good one tonight. I'm your host and producer, Morgan Cook. Alongside me, as always, Alex Gagnon up here in the V-Speed booth. Ready to put on a good show tonight.
Absolutely. Watkins Glen, one of those tracks that always puts on a show. There's a reason this is the oldest active course in the NASCAR Cup Series right now as far as road courses are concerned. They've run 41 races on it to this point, and for good reason. I mean, this place is quintessential road course when it comes to stock cars. Not too difficult to get those heavy cars around, but plenty enough opportunities to make something happen.
That's absolutely right, Alex. And a little unfinished business from last week. If you recall last week's broadcast 1 week ago from today, we didn't give you a running order for the finish of that race. I have the top 10 for you right here. Jeremy Burns was the winner. There was a Tay McDonald disqualification, unfortunately. Chris Nail, Grant Thorpe, Kevin Orlando Jr., Grant the Toes Turner, Dylan Picklesheimer, Caleb Gilbert, Justice Murphy, and Daniel the Candyman Holloway were your top 10 after Atlanta last week. But that was last week. This week, we welcome you here, Watkins Glen, for the Aloe Barbershop 110. This is going to be a good one. I have no doubts. The points look like this. Burns, your winner last week, locked in to the next round. The rest of the points on your screen, you notice Tay McDonald at the bottom. He has been eliminated due to disqualification. Rob Rader not in the session tonight and will not be for a few weeks. So that is going to change the game here quite a bit, because he was the second best driver throughout the regular season. No doubts about that. There's the rest of the points on your screen. Well, let's talk about Watkins Glen, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, Watkins Glen, you know, just under 2.5 miles. Pretty standard as far as road courses are concerned. The big one that people look at, the big uphill S's, a ton of elevation change climbing up the hills there. And then you get to that bus stop chicane in the back corner of the track. A lot can go wrong there, but a lot of time can be gained if you consistently hit that spot well through the carousel in 5 down to those final corners in 6 and 7, where we've seen so many wonderful passing attempts over the years. This place truly is going to put on a show tonight, I think. But, you know, when we think about this track, Morgan, I mean, we think that there could be a lot of opportunities. And then you think about road courses this season, and one man's name comes to mind, and that is the 9 of Jeremy Burns, who has been lights out on the road courses this season.
Absolutely, he has, and we're going to talk about that here. And I feel like about 40 seconds, we're going to talk about that Burns character a little bit before we get into that. Race length, 45 laps, pit road speed, 40 miles an hour. You have 5 tire sets available to you tonight. Only admin cautions, so this will probably be a fully green race, save for the stage at lap number 10. Let's talk about the Burns character a little bit, shall we? Your Coastal Financial Pole Award winner. We'll get to your thing in just a sec, Alex.
Yeah.
The driver we all expected, it's Jeremy Burns. Going to start on the pole here tonight. Now you can praise Jeremy Burns, Alex.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we've run 3 road course races this season. Jeremy Burns won all 3 of them. And those 3 races have combined for 127 laps, Morgan. He's led 114 of them. Literally 90% of all laps run here at road courses this season. The 9 car's been up at the front, so anyone who's going to try and knock him off the throne here tonight has a tall task ahead of him.
Yeah, just a phenomenal record so far, but be remiss if we didn't mention our Coastal Financial Pole Award. Our mission of Coastal Financial is to provide comprehensive financial planning solutions tailored to each individual's unique needs and goals, with the aim of empowering our clients to make informed financial decisions and achieve their financial potential. You can find us at coastalfinancial.com or on Facebook at Coastal Financial. Your Pole Award winner again was Jeremy Burns. We're going to get down to the grid here. Just a second. Burns on the pole, and he just barely was ahead of Trevor Keith, who's going to start in second tonight. Third spot, at least at the start, is going to belong to Kyle Diaz in the 26. Travis Gilbert, his teammate, going to start in 4th. 5th spot, Jackson McGeorge. The hot streak continues for the 98. Grant Thorpe will start in 6th. 7th position, Carter Linds in the 66. Parker Johnston with the T, going to start in 8th. Rounding out your top 10, Justice Murphy in the 12. Trevor Erhardt in the 41.
Looking back to row 6, it's the 45 of Tyler Harrison, Michael Call to his outside. Row 7, Caleb Gilbert in that 54 machine, V-Speed's James Loveland in the 02 to his outside. Row 8, it'll be the 88 of Chris Nail, and the sponsor of tonight's race, Matt Robinson in the 1. Row 9, it's the 24 of Nick Alves and the 18 of Jacob Sirkovich, with row 10 being Michael Bennett in the 14 and Alex Forget in the 19.
Starting 21st tonight, Grant the Toes Turner in the 39. Devin Hudgens will start 22nd. 23rd, the Candyman, Daniel Holloway. Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27 is going to start in 24th. 25th spot, Dylan Picklesheimer, Brandon Richardson alongside him in row 13. Row 14 made up of Al Likens and Christopher Schaefer. And the last on the grid here tonight is going to be Joe Joya in the 17. Now let's get down track side. Have a look at your grid rolling down the backstretch, if you can even really call it that here at Watkins Glen.
About the closest thing that they've got to a backstretch here at Watkins Glen. You'll see they'll be making their way into the famous bus stop here that little chicane tucked in just before turn 5. Going to be a big opportunity for drivers to try and make a move tonight. And, you know, we look at this front row, Morgan. Obviously, Jeremy Burns up on the pole once again. To his outside, though, the 15 of Trevor Keith. He has been no slouch on these road courses either. A second at Sonoma, a third at the Chicago Street Course. He's been pretty solid as well. And in a situation where he's trying to get his hands on every playoff point he can, tonight could be a prime opportunity for the 15 to give himself some security looking toward the next round.
Absolutely right. As we roll into the penultimate corner, I think now's a good time to have a quick look at the team points. Each driver here is on a team, and this is the bracket, the way that it shakes down after Atlanta last week. Find your favorite team there and see who they have to match up against for tonight and next week at Bristol. 4 teams will be eliminated as we roll into that second round. But for now, pace car is off. Jeremy Burns has the field in tow, and we are green at Watkins Glen. Oh, we got wrecks all over the place here. That's Jackson McGeorge around. Picklesheimer, maybe there's Orlando around.
He's not the only one. That's still wrecking. Matt Robinson around.
Parking lot here.
As is the 88 of Chris Nail further up the S's.
Orgette as well.
There was a wreck in every spot of the S's there. 2, 3, and 4 all had cars sideways.
No caution. We stay green. We're going to have to go back and look at that. Good chunk of cars caught up in that early accident.
Holy, I am floored that they didn't throw the yellow. I realized it was toward the back of the field, but there was like 3 wrecks simultaneously.
So there's the McGeorge incident. You saw a little further back. Somebody spinning already. There goes Loveland as well through the grass. Lichens in the wall. Now, this was the one further up the racetrack. Some drivers not using the brakes as well as they could have right there, but let's have a look here. And then Robinson a little further up. Have another look here, and we'll get back to the rest of the field here in just a second. We got to do our due diligence and figure out what happened this early in the race. See Grant Turner gaining a lot of spots on the inside in turn number 1. No harm, no foul there. I think it was the 18 was one of these. 18 got turned right there by the 84. What happened to the number 1?
Heavy contact.
He was part of this Loveland
incident.
incident.
Up in turn 4. He gets stacked up with Nail and Bennett, and around goes the one there.
There it is. Back to your
Quite
live
literally,
shot.
Every corner of the S's there, 2, 3, and 4, someone was around.
All right, up at the front. Jeremy Burns leads. Gilbert in second. Keith is third. Diaz Johnston round out your top 5. After that first lap, we have 3 drivers in the pits. Devin Hudgens has elected to leave the session. Chris Nail still on pit road. Joe Joya as well on the pit lane.
Tell you what, some of the drivers have really been able to capitalize through all the carnage. We're looking at the 39 there, Grant Turner. Started 21st. He's already up to 12th after 2 laps here, thanks to that great move on the opening corner there in turn 1, and then subsequently being able to avoid some of the incidents there through the S's on that opening lap. So a great start to the day for that Teku number 39.
Absolutely is. Let's ride on board with the driver. Let's give everyone a treat at home. Let's do the foot cam here for Grant Turner.
This is the best place for these road courses. You get to see just how active he's got to be down there.
See timing off just a little bit from the live feed, but you get the gist of what's happening. A lot of footwork here. Little lawn mowing service for the 39. He's able to keep it rolling.
He's just getting into the spirit of tonight's sponsor, the Aloe barbershop. You know, he's like, well, can't cut the hair, may as well cut the grass.
That's why we have Alex up in the booth, everyone. It's for these terrific segues. All right, up front, the gap is closing ever so slightly. Gilbert chasing down the Burns, the mountain man. Driver who has led 90% of the road course laps, won 100% of the races. And let's not forget, he's only 2 road course wins away from sweeping the season. Just let that sink in a little bit. Every road course this series has gone to this season, Jeremy Burns has ended up winning the race.
Obviously, you know Travis Gilbert would love to put an end to that here tonight if he has the ability to do so. Looking for win number 2 on the season if he can get around the 9 and then hold on toward the checkered flag. He's doing a good job keeping Burns in his sights right now through the opening couple laps. But we usually see that 9 have better long run pace than just about anyone else in the field. So keeping with the 9 is not easy, but doing so in the opening couple laps is very different versus the next 20 to come.
Definitely promising to be able to stick with him so far. And he's hanging right around that 0.6 of a second down mark. He's driving pretty hard into the corner, and Burns is going to get him off the corner. Remember, there's a bunch of 90s at this particular facility. Yeah, still 0.7. The battle for the lead.
Yeah, it's been a really nice start there for the 22. Also looking here, this is the 14 of Michael Bennett, the 02 of James Loveland. Both of them a little bit caught up in an incident there in lap 1 in the S's. Running 14th and 15th on track right now, on board with the 14 as he looks to make a move into turn 1.
Is he going to get to the inside? Not quite. Loveland gave him the door. Got a really good run through the center. Bennett is going to drive up through the S's, still behind Loveland.
One of the things I love there, you can see Bennett leaning into the corners as he was hitting them. Even though the chair isn't going to give you any sort of inclination of that corner, sometimes it helps a lot just to put your head where the car would position itself to get a better sense of where you need to be. So it looked like the 40 of Al Likens actually missed the bus stop, had to park it in that runoff space. If you miss the corner there, folks, got to bring the car to a complete stop before you accelerate, otherwise you will be penalized.
I was just going to say that. He could have also been getting out of the way. If
also a possibility.
Because he is a lap down if cars coming up to him. Two down now, apologies. Might be wise just to give way. No need to get anyone's way, especially on lap 6. So early in this race. It's going to be a fast one here tonight, folks. Especially if we have issues like that first lap and there's no cautions thrown. Should be pretty breezy. Just the one stage on tap here in about 5 laps.
And that might be the only caution we get. So if you didn't make the big moves you wanted to on the opening start of this race, that one restart might be the only other chance you get tonight. So you got to keep yourself in contention here till they hit the stage at lap 10. And then from there, make the most of the ensuing restart.
Absolutely right about that. As that 22's hanging tough, Trevor Keith has fallen back just a little bit to 3rd. Diaz having a solid run in 4th. Johnston is 5th. Thorpe, Linz, Murphy, Erhardt, and Harrison are your top 10.
A lot of playoff drivers in the top 10 there, Morgan. A lot of people fighting for these stage points.
This is a good place to get them, right? The racing not nearly as hectic, hopefully, as last week at Atlanta, where we had 2 overtimes. I do see a lot of yellow banners up here in the top 10, and this is a good place to flex your muscle, right? This is a track where you just get out here, you race the racetrack, you don't worry about the cars around you, and keep it on the black stuff, and you will be in good shape here tonight. Good battle back here. 22nd.
Oh.
Forget trying to work over Richardson. Does it roll into
Forget,
turn
one of the
one?
cars who got caught into one of those early incidents, just trying to get back into a rhythm here. You can see the damage to the front end of the 19 as they make their way up the S's. That Ford Mustang has certainly seen better days.
Well, good news. He's got a pit stop coming here in just a few laps. Everyone's going to hit the pit lane, I would think, and get some damage repair, get some fuel, get some tires. You might not need, I think tires will be important here. I think you could probably not take them, but that might be detrimental to your race strategy. There's that trio through the carousel.
It's just a really pretty facility to watch racing happen. It is gorgeous watching these cars roll up and down the hills around here. And no matter where you look, there's something interesting happening on track. As we jump back here, this is Picklesheimer and Schaefer battling it out just behind this group here.
Just had a
Richardson
pass.
and Forget.
Forget was able to get around him. Was able to get around the 8 machine up to 21st. Let's see how high the 19 can climb from his 21st current running position. I expect to see him in the top 15 before too long. Schaefer just got passed by Picklesheimer. That's what we were looking at mere moments ago.
The 23, another one of those cars that looks like it has some front end damage from the incidents there on lap 1. Picklesheimer, a bit of a lockup though, might open the door for Schaefer to get right to the back bumper.
Through the S's. They both kind of missed the bottom there. Suboptimal lines. Not running the curb either on the inside. Not sure if their cars just aren't handling that well. We are fairly deep into this run. Let's see what happens into the bus stop, if they have anything for them. Nothing there. Picklesheimer pulls away. Back up front. That's just a testament to how fast this front of the field is. They're on the same half of the racetrack as those drivers in 24th and 25th.
And the 22 still right there with the 9. Travis Gilbert has kept that gap at about 0.6 of a second since the drop of the green flag tonight. You know, keeping the 9 very much within arm's reach here through the opening part of the stage.
If I recall correctly, this is the closest any driver has been to Jeremy Burns at the end of the first stage in any of the road courses this year. Testament to how
might be getting even closer.
Yeah, testament to how well the 22 is driving as we're working lap 10.
I believe when the top 10 cross the line here is when they will throw the caution for the stage break. A little bit of a battle for that final playoff or final point there in the stage. Harrison looks like he will hold off Gilbert that time around.
I think we're 1 lap too soon. I think next lap. When they finish 10.
The end of lap 10.
When they finish 10, I believe. Yeah, different leagues
like
do it different
league
ways.
does it a little differently.
That's right. That's right. But Gilbert's only about half a second behind. Can he get there? Or will Burns hang on?
.22 looks like he might be a little too far back to make a dive here, but I'm sure he'll be happy with the way this opening stage has gone. 22 has run a great stage in the opening 10. But Jeremy Burns just continues to have that pace on these road courses here. And this time around will be officially marked as the stage winner here in the Aloe Barbershop 110.
I believe so. Burns going to win stage number 1. It's close. Drag race to the line. Give it to the 45. So close. Oh, we got a wrecked race car here. Look at Schaefer. There's the caution out now.
Yeah, we were mentioning earlier when we were seeing him battle with, I want to say it was Picklesheimer, that there was definitely some damage on the.
I don't think it was quite this bad, though.
No, it's significantly more drastic now.
Let's see.
The front end all torn up, the right front very much out of whack.
So we can find out where that happened. It could not have been too long ago. Not there. No, it's damage there as well. I don't really think we need to go back much farther. Clearly hit something pretty hard, and that's not going to help the driver of the 23. But stage 1 in the books. Your top 10 looks like this. Jeremy Burns, stage winner. Travis Gilbert going to finish in the 2nd position in that stage. Trevor Keith, this driver right here. There he is. 3rd spot. Pretty clean first stage for him. In the 4th position, Kyle Diaz, followed by Grant Thorpe. Parker Johnston with a T. Carter Linz. Justice Murphy in 8th. Trevor Erhardt was 9th. And Tyler Harrison got that last stage point. Congratulations to those drivers. Going to be helpful. A lot of yellow spoilers in that shot. Look at the points here. Yeah, many of them up there getting those points. Couple drivers who didn't. Caleb Gilbert finished 11th. Forget was in the 20s. Grant Turner
Michael
not on
Paul
that
was,
list.
12th there. Yeah.
So a few
That being
drivers just missing
said,
out.
Carter Lins, Parker Johnson, Tyler Harrison, all drivers below the cut line coming into tonight's race got stage points. So that will help them significantly close the gap up there to some of those drivers. But
And Erhardt right
it's
at the cut
gonna
line as well.
yeah,
Definitely helping.
big help for Trevor Keith as well. If you're Michael Call or Grant Turner, someone who did not get stage points there, all of a sudden there's a lot more drivers breathing down the back of your neck here in the second half of this race, knowing that line just got a little bit closer to you.
Yeah, a little nervousness if you're those drivers, but we have never showed you what the trophy looks like. So, for the first time this season, that's what they're racing for, which is, I must say, one of the best looking trophies I've ever seen in the sim racing world. That is a phenomenal trophy. Well done to, I believe it was Chad Lancaster who was able to make that one.
Yeah,
But,
big props to the creator there. I mean, that thing looks like it's got some weight to it and some size to it. That will be really cool for resting on the old mantle of whoever gets to claim it at the end of the season.
That's right. That is a conversation piece. That is a mantle maker, so to speak. As all the cars roll down the pit lane, Burns going to hit his final pit stall as he won the pole for this race. Down and away is Burns. No tires. Same thing for Thorpe and Keith.
Tell you what, Travis Gilbert there lost a lot of track position. But, you know, if this is anything like the Cup Series race we saw on Sunday, those slightly fresher tires might be a big enough deal. Chris Buescher was able to wheel those to a dramatic last lap win over Shane Van Gisbergen. Does someone like Travis Gilbert have that in the cards tonight over Jeremy Burns, Trevor Keith, or someone else who may have not taken tires that time around?
And 2 tires for the 22. Everyone else around him fuel only. First driver on 4 fresh ones. It's this guy right here. Kevin Orlando Jr. in 17th. Richardson, Candyman Holloway, Picklesheimer, McGeorge, Sirkovich, Bennett, Forget, and Schaefer. All the drivers on 4 tires. Some of those cars having a little more damage than others. So 17th on back on the fresh ones. We work lap number 13. Since we're not yet 1 to green, what do you say we grab a driver, pull him up here in the booth, who's not in the race at the moment, maybe give us a little bit of insight, talking about Rob Rader. Find him in the Discord. Where is he?
He is not in
the Discord. Fantastic.
Or at least not in the call.
All right.
At least not in the call.
All right, well, maybe let's chat with another driver, then we'll see if we can have Mr. Rader up here in the booth a little bit later. Who do you want to chat with this time, Alex?
Yeah, we can chat with any number of folks. Maybe we talk to the 77, Grant Thorpe, right there in the middle of things, both on track and in the points.
Let's do it. Let's bring the 77 down into the booth.
Alrighty.
Grant Thorpe, it's Alex and Morgan up in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
All right. Solid run so far. 4th spot for that bright yellow 77. Thanks for making it easy for us to see. What's it going to take to get up there and pass Burns and Keith?
I'm gonna need him to mess up. I have nothing for him, more than likely. It's just the fact, unfortunately, he is ridiculous on these road courses, so I'm gonna need a lot of luck on my side and something good to go my way.
Right on. Well, the best of luck to you there. You are known as Mr. Fuel Mileage. So what's it look like to the end here? A one-stopper, two-stopper? What can we do to the finish here at Watkins Glen?
Should be a one-stopper. I think everyone should be able to do it, though. I don't think it's going to take anything special from a fuel-saving standpoint, but I hope I'm wrong and everyone else runs out. Maybe I win it that way.
Would not be the first time, would it, Mr. Thorpe?
It would not. I wouldn't mind it happening again.
Right on. Anyone you want to shout out while we got you up here?
You guys, always teammates at TriStar. Unfortunately, Jackson was able to make it tonight. Of course, the admin team for everything they do week in and week out.
Right on. Well, thank you, and we'll maybe chat with you a little bit later in the broadcast.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right, that is Grant Thorpe, driver of the 77. It's nice being able to
about as good a chance.
just
go
go
ahead.
chat with people all willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Can't do that in NASCAR, can you?
At least not without them half the time turning off the radio, and
That's
then you just
right.
get those clips of Michael Waltrip talking to absolutely nobody.
That's right. That's right. Here they have no choice but to respond, unless they're muted, I guess, and I just put them back. But anyway, rounding the final corner here at Watkins Glen. Pace car is going to make that hard right-hand turn today. Field in the hands once again of Jeremy Burns. We are green. Lap 14 here at the Glen.
Things about to get real busy in the turn one. 3 or 4 wide as they sort their way on through. Looks like everyone able to navigate it cleanly, though. This was the problem spot last time. Will they handle it better this time around?
I saw Grant Turner gain a bunch of spots. Deep drive into turn one, made it stick. Look at all of these cars. Single file out pretty good, though, at this point in time.
And it looks like everyone got through the S's a lot better that time around than they did on the opening drop of the green flag. So
Look up for
a
Gilbert
lot
there.
of cause for celebration there through the field. A lot of checkbooks being put back down as everyone navigated through cleanly. And Thorpe was able to jump Trevor Keith in line there. Now the 77 rides in P2.
Look at that. Does he have anything for Burns? We saw in that first run, the only driver with something for the 9 was this 22. Took the 2 tires, has fallen back to 4th. What can he do with the 2 in front of him, and can he dispose of Burns a little bit later on? I think Johnston caught the fence a little bit there off of the final corner. Full field's pretty tight. Best battles right here. Call and Robinson into 1. Right behind Loveland. Robinson's going to get the spot, it looks like. Yes, he will clear as they roll into the S's.
You see everyone getting to a point here through the S's where it's just so much easier to go single file through that section because there's not really any good passing zones there.
Yeah, that's really just a
And then they go
continuation of turn 1 set up for this right here, the bus stop. This is where you're going to make your big pass if you have the opportunity. Where Busher made the pass on SVG this weekend.
That it was. Still a pretty quality opportunity spot to make some moves. You see Forget maybe trying to get around Picklesheimer here. Not the run he needed out of 5. Will he dive into 6? Not to be that time, but Bennett will make a dive on McGeorge just behind him. And now here comes Forget to the outside of Richardson, now to the inside of 7.
Hitting pit road this time is the 19. Maybe he knows something that we don't about the mileage. How is this going to shake out for the driver of the 19? Burns out to his biggest lead of the day, just over 1 second. Call it 1.2 through the S's.
You know, starting to open things up a little bit from the 77 to Grant Thorpe. Trevor Keith, Travis Gilbert not too far behind him. Jumping on board there with the 66 of Carter Linz, a driver who needs a good result today as he came into tonight under that playoff cut line to advance to the round of 12. Got some stage points, currently running exactly where he qualified in P7, but has 5th and 6th very much within striking distance here through the carousel. You can see Diaz and Johnson just up ahead.
And if you look behind him, not much happening out the rear view. Tyler Harrison, 1.5 back. So he's got some breathing room at the moment. See if he's able to keep it and march himself up to a top 10 position here at the finish. We got Nick Alves blinking out just a little bit. We got a spin potentially here. I don't think we did.
I think someone just locked it up pretty bad in the 7.
No harm, no foul is the case on that one. Alves and Loveland having a battle. Another lockup. Someone is not having a good time in front of them.
No, they are not.
3 wide through the S's.
Just ahead of this battle, you have Caleb Gilbert, Trevor Erhardt. One of those 2 cars, I believe, is having some serious handling issues. A little bit of door contact. Sirkovich and Michael Call just behind them. They were running out of space there in the S's, and looks like Sirkovich got the best of that exchange.
It looks that way. Entry into the bus stop. You see the cars hit all the curbs here. That's how you make speed at this facility. Such an awkward set of corners. It's so fast flowing, but there's a point where all 4 tires, if you're doing it right, are off the ground.
And there's no other track in the series where that sentence would make any sense.
That's right. We have seen drivers with all 4 tires off the ground at Coda earlier in the year. That car was flying through the air, but that was not optimal. The gap has grown significantly. 3.5. Burns to Thorpe. Something happened to the driver of the 77. But here comes Travis Gilbert. 4 seconds might be a little too much for him to make up. Is Trevor Keith's under attack as well?
Yeah, Trevor Keith is falling back to 4th here. Parker Johnston breathing down the back of his neck right now. And to your point about Travis Gilbert being about 4 seconds off of Burns right now, the only thing that really works into the 22's favor here is if he gets around Grant Thorpe. We know that that 22 was able to keep pace with the 9 in the early going, so he might be able to stabilize that gap a bit. And then since he took 2 tires when Burns took none at the pit stop, does that open him up for a quick stop when they have to come back down pit road later to try and make up some time on the 9? I don't know, but I think that's what the 22 is going to be gambling on here tonight.
Yeah, we're going to have to see when he gets around, if he gets around this 77. What do the lap times look like? Is it possible to catch Burns, to cut into the lead at all? Or are we stuck where we are? Pass a little further back. Got a good battle here. Murphy, McGeorge, Richardson. This is for 20th. 8 cars going to get out of the way.
I think he was a little concerned about having someone that much quicker than him right on his back bumper going into turn 1. And I can't say I blame. On board here with Forget, who came down pit road early. I think maybe to try and get enough fuel to make it to the end of this race without having to stop again. So he might just be trucking along here. He's a minute off the lead, but you know, might not have to stop again, which will help him big time.
And he's in clean track. He's currently lapping at the 8th fastest rate on the racetrack right now, so he's got top 10 speed, just needs to have a top 10 strategy kind of day here to catch back up. Currently running in the 23rd position. Just had a pass for 2nd. Gilbert got around Thorpe. Can he chase down the mountain man? That is the question we're all asking. Oh, big slide for Trevor
slide
Keith.
for the 15. Holy.
Yeah, that was near disaster for a driver who could use all the playoff points he can get. A few drivers close in behind him.
That was nearly a race ender for the 15, going headfirst into the pit wall here at Watkins Glen. It's a sure way to destroy the front end of your race car. Not a whole lot of padding there.
No, and if you recall back to Dover earlier in the season, that race was called the Avoid the Barrels 200. I can't pronounce it in French. I don't remember how. Same deal here. Don't hit the barrels. That's the moral of the story. They're bad for you.
A little further in the field here. Going to jump on board. That is Michael Call, Kevin Orlando Jr., a couple of playoff drivers trying to work their way up in toward the top 10. battling for 16th right now. They've got some work to do if they're going to finish with a top 10 result here tonight.
Absolutely right about that. Picklesheimer with an issue. He did. He spun off the carousel. Only losing a few spots, but that is going to hurt. Maybe not a spin. This is just a slide here for the 43. Trying to cool those tires down in the grass a little bit. Don't know if that still works here on iRacing, but tried it nonetheless. Good battle here. Turner, Erhardt, a couple playoff drivers as well. Right ahead of Gilbert, who's been stuck in 11th all day. Just cannot get away from the 11th position.
These two cars, Caleb Gilbert, Grant Turner, kind of found themselves battling each other the opening lap of the race when Turner made up all that ground in turn 1. And the two of them have been glued to each other ever since. It's been over 20 laps now, and it's either been the 54-39 or the 39-54 like we see right here on track. Both of them just outside the top 10, agonizingly close though. But right now, Grant Turner holding on to that last spot. And you see just behind him, Alves and Loveland battling it out just outside the top 10.
Here's a ride on board driver of the 24, Nick Alves. Out of these road races. Oh, Gilbert got around him. He did get around Grant Turner, at least for this moment. I imagine down into turn 1, you can see it in front of us. Not able to clear. Yeah, Nick Alves out for a Sunday drive until you look in the rear view.
Then things pick up just a little bit.
Get a whole bunch of Ford Mustang logo off of the nose of Loveland there.
Doesn't look like it's bothered Nick Alves very much. He seemed pretty locked in there going through the S's toward that chicane on the back straightaway.
Got Grant Turner, who has turned down the lights a little bit. Not quite as bright. He's not melting in there anymore. 11th spot, driver of the 39. Putting that Thrustmaster Formula wheel to good use here today. So we have just passed the halfway point of this race. One more pit stop to go before we settle it.
And you can see he took a super shallow entry in the 6, trying to cut off some time a little bit there, but I think ultimately in the long run that's going to hurt him as the 54 now starting to pull away from him just a little bit more. We jump up here to the top 5. Diaz, a little wide in 1. Parker Johnson going to take that spot away. The 48 moves back into a top 5 position, but he's got Kyle Diaz and Carter Lins just behind him as well. It's been a really solid day behind the wheel for that 48 of Parker Johnson, someone who, much like Carter Lins, needed a lot of points coming into tonight, and so far is in really good shape to get them.
Yeah, was able to punch his ticket with that last-minute win at Daytona, but showing that he's a force to be reckoned with here in these playoffs. Running 5th at Watkins Glen. This will definitely help out his day if he's able to cap it off where he's running right now. So Trevor Keith doing a little off-track excursion through the runoff area, trying to catch up to the 77. Grant Thorpe.
A little sight.
Top 5, all playoff drivers.
And just about everyone in the top 10 is sans the 26 of Kyle Diaz. So a lot of these playoff drivers came to play tonight here at Watkins Glen. 9 out of the top 10, and I believe it's 11 out of the top 12 as they run. So big shout out to Kyle Diaz, holding it down for the rest of the field here tonight with a really solid run. Qualified well and continues to run well. Right now scored in P6. Obviously he just got passed by the 48 a moment ago, but continues to just truck along here at a pretty good clip and has not let the 48 pull away from him.
No, not at all. See them pile off into the bus stop here. There they go. So the rest of the field snake through there, and you can just see how unsettled that car is over the bus stop. All 4 tires off the racing surface. Such an unnerving feeling. Oh, big slide for the 14, 48. 14 on the nose, 48 on the side. Into penultimate. See if he can get the crossover. Will Diaz get there? I don't believe he will.
Yeah, the door opened for Kyle Diaz there when the 48 got loose. The problem is it put him on the outside going into turn 6. So really hard to make a pass on the outside there. And was not able to do so as we jump back just behind the top 10. Grant Turner, Matt Robinson.
Yeah, Turner just
duke
lost
it
a
out
spot.
for position here.
We're going to go back up to that Johnston-Diaz fight. They were side by side. Gap's a little bit bigger now. Trying to keep you up to date on the closest battles in the race. Trevor Keith has caught up to Grant Thorpe. That's only about a quarter second. Scanning the rest of the leaderboard here. We got a few cars close together. It's Orlando Jr. Call McGeorge. 16 through 18. Somebody locked up again. I believe it was the 18. Had a lockup. Yes, the fact the group has caught up to him. Big time issues here for the 18. He is well slow. He's going to get caught here right away.
Yeah, that gap shrunk immensely. A little bit of contact with the 98 and the 27. Got the 98 a little bit out of sorts, but he'll be to the inside as they go into 7. A great view off the rear bumper of the 18 watching that battle. More sliding around for the 98. McGeorge wheeling that thing, gets around Kevin Orlando Jr. Got to imagine the 27, though, is going to take a look to the inside here in 1.
Didn't have
Big
to.
lock up for the 98.
McGeorge locked up for momentum. Give it to the 27. Look at Call go. Murphy's not too far behind this one either. That's 3 playoff drivers stuck behind this 98. Need those points quickly. Back out front, Jeremy Burns on another Wednesday evening stroll here at a road course in Racing Revolution. Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series, as he leads by a comfortable 6 1/4, call it 6 1/2 seconds over Travis Gilbert. How about a quick through your field? I think this is probably as good a time as any. There's the leader, the Mountain Man. Led him all so far. Adding to his impressive 90% laps led, that number has definitely gone up today. Travis Gilbert. There is second place driver. He's got the freshest tires, 2 of them. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough to track down the leader as Burns continues to get faster. There's Thorpe in 3rd, about to be 4th. Trevor Keith can do what he wants to do. There is the battle for the 3rd position. Keith trying to track him down. Parker Johnston, talked about him earlier, having a solid run here in the P5 position. Under heavy fire from Kyle Diaz. There's Diaz. Rudy Pebbles trying to get around the 48. He might just do it right here. He's going to get the position into penultimate. Let's follow this until it sorts itself out.
Oh, he's going to keep a nose along the inside there. They'll have the advantage in the 7.
Ooh, good job to not turn the 48. That was eerily close to spinning him out. Drag race into 1. Who's going to get the spot here? I'd give it
Both of them
to
pretty
Diaz.
late on the brakes.
Give it to Diaz. Well done. Carter Lynn's able to be pulled in by this battle. He is the 7th place driver right now. Tyler Harrison in 8th, but under fire from Erhardt, under fire from Gilbert. They are 8, 9, and 10, respectively. Nick Alves running back here. Saw him earlier. There's the driver in 11th. 12th position belongs to Matt Robinson, race sponsor, Aloe Barbershop. James Loveland, V-Speed's very own, in the 13th position. Grant Turner toes himself, running 14th. Up 7 from where he started. So that is good news for the driver in the playoffs due to his Talladega win earlier this season. Jackson McGeorge is in 15th. There he is. Kevin Orlando Jr., 16th. Jacob Sirkovich, been passed for 17th. Justice Murphy is 18th. Michael Call, playoff driver, is 19th. We're hitting pit road this time by Richardson, is 20th. Picklesheimer, 21st. Daniel Holloway, last driver on the lead lap, in 22nd. Forget is a lap down. Likens is 5 down. Bennett, 11 down. Schaefer, Joya, Nail, Hudgens out of the race.
Looks like both Johnston and Erhardt came down pit road that time around. So a couple of cars from the top 5, top 10 area starting to make their stops to make it to the end of this race.
It's going to be interesting to see what the lap times look like. Burns out here is running 1:12.48. Rest of the field was in the 1:13s or 1:14s. How do the new tires help these drivers? We'll check it out with Erhardt here when he completes his lap.
Just as a fun bit of information, that 1:12.48 that the 9's running on 30-lap old tires, if he ran that as a qualifying lap, still would have put him in the top 10.
That's impressive. Equally impressive is that Grant Thorpe ran a faster lap that time around, and Burns is on pit road.
Everyone's on pit road. It is a busy place to be right now. Here comes Caleb Gilbert and a bunch of other drivers. Travis Gilbert as well. Looks like Trevor Keith.
Looks like everybody but the top 2 hit the pit lane that time, as well as Richardson is passing a lot of cars right now. These are not trucks. Anyway, up to 4th for the 8th. Yet to make his pit stop. 18 laps on this run. Will Gilbert hit this time? Will he stretch it to the end on fuel? End of the run, not the end of the race, of course. But this puts you in a window to make it to the finish. What will Grant Thorpe do? He seems to be the Pied Piper of fuel strategy. What's his move? To go through the final corner.
Here what the leaders do.
Pitting for both of them. And where is Burns? 21 seconds back. He will more than likely be the leader when this all cycles out. Able to clear the lap curve. I believe that was Forget. It was. Should be able to see those leaders on the pit lane as we drive by. 17 of Joya off the side of your screen. There's Bennett. There's Thorpe and Gilbert, new leader, old leader, Jeremy Burns. Where do those two drivers fall out to? It's like Gilbert is going to stay ahead of Trevor Keith. Thorpe is going to be right alongside. See what happens when they get back up to speed. But it looks like the gap was closed ever so slightly by Travis Gilbert. Likens in the outside wall here. But he got some help from Trevor Keith. Not too sure about that.
I don't know if the 15 got there. I think the 40 was just trying to run a bit outside in case the 15 was trying to get on by and just got a little too much of that outside wall.
Could be.
It was a good stop for the 22. He gained about half a second, or actually about close to a second on the 9. But I mean, when you're 7 seconds behind, even getting an extra second on him on pit road isn't going to feel like a whole lot. And you still have 6 seconds to make up. So it's truly been a really solid race for the 22 machine tonight. It's just, you know, when you're going up against someone like Jeremy Burns, who's had so much success on the road courses this season, sometimes second might just be where you end up, even when you put all the pieces together here tonight. But it's been a really good run for the 22 when he's needed it. Points-wise, same deal with Trevor Keith and Grant Thorpe. All three of those guys, really, really quality runs going. And then Carter Lynn's using that pit cycle to jump in front of Parker Johnston. Big move for him relative to where that cut line is and the fact that the 48 was just ahead of him.
And only about 10 laps to go in this race. To be able to hang on to it from here. Lynn's about to put the pressure on the 77 into the bus stop. Not quite going to be close enough. This battle happening a cool 12 seconds behind your leader. battle on the racetrack is Kyle Diaz fighting with Tyler Harrison. This is for 7th as they catch the lap car of Likens. Crossover there for the 26.
You'll have that inside line in the 6. That's where you want to be. However, if you can't clear him, which he didn't there, you're going to be at a disadvantage in the 7. Here comes Caleb Gilbert as well, trying to follow the 45 on through. Not to be that time around, but a nice little chain of cars in the back half of the top 10 as they charge their way into turn 1.
Been a good race here at Watkins Glen so far. What do you say? Let's maybe bring the noise
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Let's do it.
Best battle on the racetrack right here. These drivers throughout that entire sequence on top of each other, and Nick Alves joined the party too.
Got
Gilbert.
quite the crew of drivers working through the carousel. Harrison barely ahead of Diaz. Diaz looked to the inside there in 5. Almost got a nose to the corner. Once again, the crossover here. Harrison happy to give him the inside to 6, because if he stays with him, he'll get the inside of both 7 and turn 1 on the ensuing lap. Diaz again going to try and clear him, not to be that time around.
Another
Both
crossover
guys
right
back
here.
to the inside. Oh, look at that. Big time exit compromising move there from the 45 and the 26. Pinched him way down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Absolutely did. Drone cam's going to take him through turn number 1, 3 wide. Oh, big loose for the on the bottom and the top. Harrison's going to get away with
Big
that
time
spot.
losing out was Caleb Gilbert. Lost 2 spots in turn 1 there. Alves and Robinson got on by.
Yeah, sometimes that's just the way that these things work. Try and make a move, you get hung out to dry. Happens a lot at super speedways, but it happens at road courses too. A lot of cars under a blanket right here. This is Harrison in 6th, all the way back to, I believe, Loveland in 13th. A lot of points to be gained or lost out of this group of cars.
Yeah, there absolutely is. And, you know, one of the things that I'm seeing here is also a lot of these cars, to the tune of about 4 or 5 of them, are playoff drivers. So some of those guys are going to really need every point that they can get tonight.
Hey, you're right about
relative
that.
to each other.
See a lot of
A lot
yellow.
of valuable points in this cluster.
A lot of yellow banners. 45's got one. 54, 41. They all have playoff banners. Remember, Loveland just missed out on the playoffs due to that Parker Johnston win back at Daytona. A couple playoff drivers back here as well. There's 4 of them sandwiching the
Whoa.
very close to the wall 98. That would have been a day ender for sure.
Absolutely would have been. It almost for a second it looked like it was just about to pitch into that outside wall. McGeorge got it collected just in time, but gonna lose out a spot there to Michael Call. But I think he's just happy to have all 4 wheels still rolling on track.
Absolutely, they're still attached, and that's all you can really ask for at this juncture of the race. Back up to the front, Burns continues to lead. It's now 6 1/4 over Travis Gilbert, who's hanging tough in the second position. You gotta wonder, what if he took 4 instead of 2? What if he didn't take tires at all? What would the gap be to Burns? Guess we will not find that out. Trevor Keith still 3rd. Grant Thorpe is still 4th. Keeping a close eye on the 15. Carter Linz runs in 5th, kind of on an island. Right here, he's got 2 out the front, 1.5 out the back to Parker Johnston in the 48. Tyler Harrison leading this brigade? Not anymore. Diaz really wants this spot. He's tried multiple times in multiple places. The S is probably not the place to do it. He might lose the spot to Alves.
About to get 3 wide here in a second if they're not careful. Harrison, though, going to fight back to take that spot for now. Diaz, though, on the inside line to the bus stop.
Oh, the
Big
two of them
time
missed it. Oh, they're in
crash.
contact. Oh, my goodness. Into the side of each other. What is going on here?
Completely shuffles everything. Harrison loses out about 6 spots in one corner, trying to get that thing collected. Look at the pack just roll on by, and now Diaz and Robinson going at it.
This looks like a Talladega race at Watkins Glen. This is unbelievable. Down into penultimate. See, Harrison went from leading this group last lap to the last car in this group, trying to get around Loveland
Oh,
here.
look at the dive from Erhardt. Just shoved Nick Alves up the track. They're throwing everything at it like it is the last lap of a super speedway race here, Morgan. This is bizarre.
Forget
oh, and
is
Forget's
around.
in the wall.
Where is this? This is just off of penultimate going into the final corner. Tough for the driver of the 19, who the pit strategy's not working out, but Diaz and Robinson going at it now. Representing the Ithaca, New York barbershop on the hood, that's Aloe. Race sponsor. There's a better shot of it as he closes in on the back bumper of Kyle Diaz. How's that for sponsorship placement?
Yeah, really.
A lot better
Robinson
than that Walmart sign in
trying.
Atlanta, isn't it?
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
The one place the 26 has been really strong all day long has been that carousel. That's where he kept getting that run against Harrison. He was able to pull away just a little bit. Meanwhile, speaking of the 45 of Tyler Harrison, he's gotten around James Loveland in the O2, so he's worked his way back to 12th, but he still has quite a few cars in line if he's going to get back to where he was just a couple laps ago. Right now, trying to chase down Caleb Gilbert and Nick Alves, who are side by side just ahead of him. Maybe an opportunity here for the 45.
Might be able to get something right here. 54 goes wide, 24 goes short. Gonna clear. Yes, he will clear the 54. And Loveland gonna take the fight. Playoff driver Caleb Gilbert. Ooh, chops the nose. That was a dangerous move, but it worked out just well enough. Battle back here as well. McGeorge fighting alongside Kevin Orlando Jr. and Michael Call in the picture as well. A couple playoff drivers. Oh, 3 wide by chance.
Whoa,
Oh, they're going
what
to
a
turn
run
each other.
for
They're
the
wrecking.
sideways.
Oh, Call got turned.
No. He tried sliding up just in front of Kevin Orlando Jr., and that did not work out in the slightest.
I think this is only going to lose him 1 spot. I think this actually is not as bad as it could have been. No damage on the 89, just a frustrating turn of events. Let's go back and watch that one. See, just a phenomenal run here through this section.
He ran the S's far better than either of the cars ahead of him and just has nowhere to go with this run.
And I don't think he realized that Orlando wasn't all the way to the paint. I think that was the issue there, and obviously just spun off the nose of the 27. But really a no harm, no foul situation there. He didn't lose the spot to the 18. Lost some track position, of course, but not the end of the world. Holloway going a lap down to the Mountain Man.
Burns got really held up behind the 21, though. His lead dropped a full second trying to clear Daniel Holloway. Gilbert's still 5 seconds back, but that's a second closer than he was just a moment ago.
That's right. Fastest car on the racetrack last time by. How about the 15? Trevor Keith with a 12:38. Yeah, Burns that time a 13:56. That will not get it done. What does Gilbert run? 12:55.
Yeah, full second.
Yeah, absolutely it was. Grant Thorpe that time with a 12:68. Some fast drivers up here. Actually, fast lap that time. How about this guy right here? Parker Johnson putting it to him. 12:50. Fastest car on the racetrack.
Got a little bit out of sorts there off of 1, but he is really wheeling that thing right now, currently in P6. Up with Burns here, 4 laps to go for Jeremy Burns to win the 4th straight road course race of the season for him, the 9 crew in Element X. Travis Gilbert going to try and have something to say about that, but I think at this point he'll need the 9 to make a mistake to make any sort of true headway. He's done such a good job maintaining pace with the 9. I just keep wondering if he did not take tires and kept that track position at the stage break. I mean, lap time for lap time, he's running about the same as Burns right now. He would be right up there, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely one that he's going to be kicking himself for, wondering what could have been. The 2 tires made no difference. The track position was a negative for him, netted out to be a negative before that pit stop. Yeah, that's going to be a coulda, woulda, shoulda for the 22 as he looks back at this one. Trevor Keith, been running in 3rd all day. About 8 seconds off the pace of Burns, who is just lights out on another road course. Grant Thorpe is in 4th. Carter Linz on an island once again in the 5th position. Parker Johnston is 6th. Kyle Diaz still leading this group, although it's spread out quite a bit. Matt Robinson, the driver, in 8th. In the 1, Erhardt in 9th. Alves up to 10th, under fire from Harrison, Gilbert, and Loveland. That is your top 13. Murphy and McGeorge are going to make up the top 15 runners. 20 of them on the lead lap. Orlando, Turner, Call, Sirkovich, and Picklesheimer are the remaining drivers who are still on the lead lap. Somebody locked up in front of the 43. Who was it? That's Al Likens.
It has been a night to forget for the 40, that's for sure.
Still running though, 24th spot, 5 laps down for the 40. Other drivers a lap down. Daniel Holloway, Brandon Richardson, Alex Forget, 21st through 23rd. Michael Bennett is 25th. He is 25 laps down. Christopher Schaefer, 26 down out of the race. Joe Joya, 28 down, is running in 27th. Chris Nail, Devin Hudgens have left the session after the lap 1 accident. 2 laps to go for Jeremy Burns to collect road course win number 4, you said, of the season?
You betcha. If you count the street course as a road course.
I certainly do. You turn right there.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Oh, yes, you
Yep,
do.
this will be the 4th time this year that they're turning right and left.
Purposefully.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of right turns that weren't supposed to happen along the way this season. But here are finally some ones that were supposed to happen.
All things considered, it's been a really fun race here today from Watkins Glen. There's been a ton of action all throughout the field, which has been a ton of fun to watch.
And now we
We've
present
had
to
great
you
battling in the top 10.
the Erhardt Homes white flag. Love where you live. Jeremy Burns, 4.7 seconds ahead of 2nd place Travis Gilbert as he goes through the S's for the final time. All by his lonesome down the backstretch.
When he crosses the line, it will definitely be worth taking a look at that battle for 7th on back again. They're still all lined up in a big knot. But, I mean, for Jeremy Burns' sake, a dream start to these playoffs. Obviously, he had the win in Atlanta last week, and now this week looks like he's going to be able to roll himself to another victory on a road course. Calm and collected, only 2 turns to go for the 9.
Into penultimate. Gonna get through penultimate with no issues. Into the final corner. 1 corner before victory. And Jeremy Burns is gonna win at Watkins Glen. There he is. But as you mentioned, let's go back and have a look at the battle for 7th. Side by side, Erhardt, Robinson leaning on each other. How fitting that we have the Erhardt Homes white flag on the screen. Who's going to get there?
The race sponsor for the Aloe Barbershop.
Erhardt got him just ahead of race sponsor. Back up.
Hey, burning it down, maybe inadvertently there was Robinson.
I think that was fully on purpose. If I had to take a guess at it. But Jeremy Burns is your winner. And some friendly contact from runner-up Travis Gilbert.
I guess it does raise the question of how many friendly contacts do you have before you start wondering if it becomes unfriendly. Not that that one was. That was fully just a friendly, hey, congrats on the win. But, you know, they did bump a couple of times, and that has now spurred the question of, you know, we have definitely, you know, maybe not in this series, but in other series previously, seen some unfriendly taps at the end of a race. But they'll get all queued up here for the podium photo. Good-looking group.
Definitely is. And there is Jeremy Burns doing the burnout. Something I think a lot of drivers expected to see today. Is that 9 machine on a roll. And there is drivers trying to do a burnout. Might be a difficult place to do one. Wall's pretty narrow here. What do you say? Let's bring him up here in the booth. Have a chat with your winner. Jeremy Burns, Morgan and Alex up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Look at the multitasking happening on your screen, folks. We are burning it down while trying to find, I imagine, the list of names you need to thank.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, we know the routine. We know the routine. Only thing left to question is, where does this win go on the table, Jeremy?
Probably underneath the one that I still haven't put on from last week.
Oh, good. So many wins, we can't even write them all down. That's the season of Jeremy Burns here in Racing Rev this year. It's been a phenomenal season for you. I mean, I don't even know how many wins this is to this point. You probably do more than I would. But, I mean, what do you say after a dominant race like this at Watkins Glen?
I mean, it's a great way to keep up the momentum. We have one more that we still have to get, and that's the Charlotte Roval to sweep all the road courses this year. So it was a great race. Huge shout out there to Travis and TK, of course, for having great pace like they usually do. But yeah, it was just a fantastic race, and you know, we're just adding on to another fantastic season. So just feeling great. That's 2 races in a row now that have been technically perfect races because I won the stage and won the race. So just building on that, getting playoff points, accumulating those. That way, if by chance we do have any bad races in the playoffs, that it'll make up for it.
You might be the only person to call last week a perfect race, but we'll just let that one slide. Mr. Atlanta winner, Jeremy Burns. We had to fill everyone in at the start of this broadcast. What happened in the last one? Because, of course, results were not made public until well after that race ended. Or a 1959 Daytona 500-esque. But Burns, 3 days later, was declared the winner. All right. I mean, you led all but, I think, 2 laps here tonight, 43 of 45. I mean, Alex was saying earlier you've led 90% of the laps on road courses this year. This is obviously going to very much increase that number today. What is it about the turning left and right that you've got figured out so much better than everyone else?
Really, I don't know. I think that it all comes up to just being able to have good throttle control and being smooth on your inputs. I feel like a lot of guys will overcook their front tires trying to make up time, and I do kind of have an advantage when you're out front and you qualify up front because people are then forced to push you. Or I guess, you know, opposite of that would be they're trying to get back to you, and you know you're more viable to make mistakes. So being able to lead 90% of the laps, that's pretty crazy actually. That's a great stat, really. But just being able to complete races too. You have two pit stops. One's under green, and one is when everybody's bunched up under caution. So being able to execute that both ways, and being able to come out first and dictate your start, and you have clean air, so that's really key to being out front here at the road courses.
And my last question for you before we get on to your list of people to thank here is, during that first stage, those first 10 laps, the 22 was never more than about half a second, 6/10 behind you. What were you thinking? You're thinking, oh, this might be a long day with him right there because you weren't able to pull away like you have at the previous 3 road courses this season.
Yeah, no, he had great pace. Huge shout out there to Travis Gilbert. We talked a little bit before the race, and he said, "I may not be able to pass you, but I'm definitely gonna be behind you, and you're gonna tug me along throughout this racetrack." So he had great pace, and like I said, I can't do nothing but shout him out because he's definitely put in a lot of work. A lot of guys in the league have been putting in a lot of work on these road courses, so it's great to see that I've kind of influenced that and been able to make a mark like that because it's great. I'd love to say that I can win every road course by 20 seconds, but at the same time, being on here is just about getting better and, trying to get better anytime that you're on the service. So being able to say that I've kind of influenced that is kind of awesome. And yeah, like I said, huge shout out to him. And it felt like it was going to be a long night, but then he got kind of back there in traffic after the pit stop. And that's another thing about the whole execution part, right? He's having a great race, and then all of a sudden he restarts in the third row.
Yeah, he took
and it's held
tires.
up by guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a full race. He learned that tonight, and I look forward to the many battles in the future. Hopefully, he can get up here with me and TK, and it should be a lot of fun.
Right on. Well, I know you got the list ready to go. Why don't you rattle them off for us?
Yeah, I gotta shout out the roommates first. Christian's out there watching, Cam, Devin. We also got Cole out there. He comes down and watches the races. So huge shout out to them. Shout out to my mom and dad. Josie, actually, tomorrow's our 4-year anniversary. So huge shout out to her. Dylan, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, and Miss Betsy for their continued support. Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shannon, Belinda, and Betty. Any other supporters of the league. Element X. Had Caleb there tonight and a couple of the guys that we were working with. So huge shout out to them. Chapman Environmental for being on the hood. Love getting that 2 weeks in a row. The other sponsors of the league, Buttkicker, Coastal Financial, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Erhardt Homes, and All About Bugs. Of course, you guys up here, V-Speed, and Aloe for sponsoring the race. I think that was Matt Robinson sponsoring the race tonight. So huge shout out to him. And I think that's everybody that I can think of right now.
That's a hefty list, and it gets bigger every week. Congratulations, Jeremy, dominating Watkins Glen for road course win number 4 of the year. And how many wins is this on the season, all told?
Honestly, I have no idea, which I guess that's a good thing. That I can't necessarily count them up off the top of my head, but honestly, I've been so tired. I've been running a lot of the college series stuff, so definitely mind-numbing when you run 800 laps at Daytona.
I heard all about that in the general chat. But congratulations, Jeremy. Alex is going to figure out how many wins you had when we come back from break. Glad to chat with you, as always.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
You bet. That was your race winner, Jeremy Burns. Now we take our scheduled commercial break here. Be back in just a few minutes. Watching Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. The Aloe Barbershop 110 here from Watkins Glen on V-Speed. Be back in just a few minutes.
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count after 37.
Oh!
The ball gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it at Auto Club.
Back with you live from the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York, Watkins Glen International. The racing has just concluded, but the post-show continues on. Jeremy Burns led almost every lap tonight, 43 of the 45. That will make it, 91.2% of all road course laps have been led by that 9 machine this season? Crazy numbers. Late in the year, I guess. We're almost finished as we're in the playoffs. But Travis Gilbert comes home in second, 4.4 back of your winner. Trevor Keith was third. Grant Thorpe, Carter Linz round out the top 5. Parker Johnston with a T finishes in 6th. Good overall run for the 48. Kyle Diaz, the highest finishing non-playoff driver, if I'm not mistaken, finishes in 7th. Trevor Erhardt in 8th. Matt Robinson, race sponsor, in 9th. And then Nick Alves rounds out the top 10. 11th spot, Caleb Gilbert in the 54, where he ran most of the night. Tyler Harrison finishes in 12th. James Loveland, 13th. Justice Murphy and Jackson McGeorge, 14th and 15th, rounding out your top 15. Kevin Orlando Jr., 16th. Grant the Toes Turner going to finish 17th tonight. Michael Call, playoff driver, in 18th. Sirkovich going to finish 19th, and Dylan Picklesheimer finishes in 20th. 21st is the Candyman, Daniel Holloway, first driver, 1 down. Richardson's going to finish 22nd. Another playoff driver in Alex Forget will finish in 23rd. Al Likens, 24th. Bennett, 25th after a forgetful start to the race. Schaefer, Joya, Nail, and Hudgens round out this 29-car field. Many of those drivers caught up in the lap 1 or 2 accidents here that happened at Watkins Glen. With that out of the way, let's go have a chat with our second and third place drivers. Alex is caught up with Travis Gilbert.
Hey, Travis, you got a copy?
I do.
Well, tell you what, some great pace out of that 22 machine tonight. About the only car that could match lap times with the 9, and we got to see it lead a couple of laps during the pit cycle, and we were honestly as close as anyone's been all season to making something happen against the 9. Talk to us a little bit about your night here from Watkins Glen, and seems like each time you come to these road courses, it's another step in the right direction for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I feel like tonight was a big step for the Racing for Freedom road course program. We feel like that's one of our weaknesses over as a whole for our team, for the Racing for Freedom organization. We struggle at the road courses, but we have some speed at times and we have talent, but we've had a hard time putting all the races together. I feel like myself and the 26 of Kyle Diaz, we did a solid job of putting together two really good races, as far as individuals go. So tonight, and a lot of my success goes to the 26 of Kyle Diaz. We did some practicing. I did an NIS race. He did an icon race on Sunday, and he learned some stuff. And I heard he was really fast in a practice race yesterday, and I was over in another league race. So we got together tonight and practiced before the race, and a lot of what he was doing clicked for me. So big shout out to him. I appreciate him a whole lot because I really feel like that helped our organization take a big step towards making it not only in the team playoffs but helping me get through the driver playoffs moving forward in our championship rounds.
Yeah, so let's take a second then and talk about that just a little bit. We'll start with the driver one here. Obviously, you came into tonight fourth in points in a multi-way tie for the spot, but also not a whole lot of separation throughout those cars above the cut line. Putting on a great run tonight, both with stage points and the points you'll get for the second place finish. Should really help secure your spot for the final round if you're not already locked in. Got to imagine you're feeling pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I told the guys over at the Racing for Freedom that I was just really no worse than a top 10 stage finish and a no worse than a top 10 race result. And I would feel comfortable going into Bristol because it's chaos. It's Bristol. Everything happens really fast. So tonight to get a second place in the stage and to come home with a second place finish and to be able to see Jeremy Burns there at the end of the race, I appreciate that. So that's a big motivator and a big confidence boost moving forward, especially since we got the Roval in the second round of the playoffs, and that will put us going into the third round. We got Talladega, which is we got our multiple wild cards. So I feel like we've come out and performed pretty good in the first round. So I think the second round kind of mimics the first round in these playoffs. So I feel like if you do good in the first round, you have a good chance of going to the second round to set yourself up for that third round, going to that final four stretch.
Yeah, would certainly agree with you there, and you're putting yourself in a really good spot here through the opening couple races. And one more question for you here as far as the team playoffs are concerned. Obviously, Racing for Freedom in a pretty tight battle with Performance Motorsports for that spot to advance coming out of the opening round. How do you guys feel about your chances going into Bristol next week, knowing you guys ran pretty well here tonight?
I think our team has hit a stride with performance. Unfortunately, we lost one of our teammates, and that sucks. However, we wish him the best, and we'll see him soon at another racetrack, at another league somewhere soon. That hurt our team because that's a top tier race car driver who was in the top four, top five in points all freaking year on pace. So that kind of sucks. However, I've got a really good group. Kyle Diaz, Devin Hudgens, they've stepped up. Devin Hudgens is really, he's had some really bad luck. I feel horrible for him. I look forward to the day that he turns the corner on that bad cloud, that dark cloud over his head and in the Racing Revolution series, because that dude he's going to knock out top tens. Kyle Diaz has proven throughout the season that he can be a race winner. So I think going to Bristol, I think our team has a good chance to. I think I have a good chance to win it based on some previous history going on right now. So, with the situation with Rob not showing up with his scenario, I feel like that's one really big competitor that was strong at Bristol that I don't have to worry about no more. So that gives me a shot in the arm, a juice in the arm going into Bristol. It's one of my favorite racetracks, one of my strongest racetracks. So I feel like our team's really good, man. I feel like it's Bristol. You got to have everything go right. You never know who's going to make contact. You never know who's going to hit the wall and take out the whole field. It get loose off 2, you get loose off 4. You can run the low line, you can run the middle line, you can run the high line. It's going to be wild. It's going to be chaotic. We'll see.
Excited to see what takes place next week at Bristol, a cutoff race for the round of 16. Travis, great run for you tonight. Anyone you'd like to shout out here before we let you go on your way tonight?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I don't usually do this. I do such a horrible job of our series sponsors getting recognized by me. I'm so sorry for that, guys. So I'd like to thank Chapman Environmental Services for putting on the league and giving us this platform with you guys. Also, Buttkicker. I know I don't have one, but I hear great things. So go get a Buttkicker. It will help elevate the feel of the race car and the chassis. Well, at least race the chassis, so you can kind of feel connected to the sim and the race car things. Also, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, appreciate them for being one of the sponsors. Same with Coastal Financial, Erhardt Homes, all about bugs, all the admin at Racing Revolution, because it's not easy to put on a top tier league week in and week out. Along with that, you guys at V Speed, Races for Christ, Jesus Racing, and then I have my Vetatrack, and they are an organization that looks out for veterans who are struggling with PTSD or other, battles coming home, reintegrating into society. So go visit vetthetrack.org and go see what their organization's about. Go support them, go support a veteran. I appreciate everything they do, and that's why I love racing. The 22 is on the side of my car because 22 veterans commit suicide a day. So I try to bring awareness to that. That's why on the trunk lid, it's got battling PTSD 1 lap at a time. For me, every lap, every corner is in celebration of everybody that we lose and everybody that's struggling, something that would love to protect our country, did protect our country, and was willing to take a sacrifice or make that sacrifice for it. So every week you see this 22 on the racetrack. We're out here battling PTSD for all the guys and gals that have stepped up and wanted to do great things for our country. So we love them and support them. And with that being said, all my teammates, Kyle Diaz, Devin Hudgens, Brandon Richardson, Tay McDonald, Ray Lane, I appreciate them for putting up with my behavior. Sometimes I can get a little fired up. And I appreciate you guys for giving us a platform to race on, and hopefully everybody is having a good summer going into a fall. It's football country, it's football time, it's racing at the end of the playoffs, and I hope that everybody enjoyed the show. And Bristol's going to be wild, so look forward to qualifying on the pole and going and trying to duplicate a sweep for this season.
Alrighty. Well, Travis, thank you so much for jumping up here with us. Congrats on the P2 run, and excited to see what's in store at Bristol.
Yeah, but before I go, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Road Course Jeremy Burns for another road course win. So, all right, and I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good week until we see you guys at the Chase cutoff for the round of 12.
You betcha.
All right.
So that was second place finisher Travis Gilbert. Bet the track number 22 machine brings it home in second tonight. A great run for him and the Racing for Freedom team.
Now on to our third place driver. Alex is going to sprint down the grid here so you can catch up with Trevor Keith. He's having fun on the cameras here. Hopefully he can get focused up here again. He's making faces at Nick Alves here in the driver cams. But Alex, take it away.
Yeah, you bet. Well, hey, Trevor, third podium, I believe, of the year on these road courses.
Oh yeah.
Continues to be a thing that you do really well. Maybe not having the race winning pace tonight, but another strong points night for you in your quest to advance to the round of 12. Talk to us a little bit about your night here, running around second or third most of the evening.
Oh, I mean, that was fun, dude. What a fun race. That was probably the funnest road course race I've had in a long time. Me and Grant Thorpe elbows out all race. It felt like, just when I got out of the pits in the seconds, or when we went in green flag pit stops, and I was like, okay, cool. I got like 2 seconds on him where he can chill. And then here he comes, and now he's a second behind me. I'm like, oh, now I got to race Grant again. But we had a lot of fun here. I did not expect the pace out of the 22, though. Congrats to Travis. He had some really good pace there. He was right there with Jeremy the whole first stage. So, that was wild. I thought I was going to cruise to second, and some of these guys stepped up and had a lot more pace. So it was a hard fought third. Uh, and I mean, 4 seconds behind Jeremy. He won this race by 20 seconds last year. A lot of these guys are putting the work in and trying to catch him, and I'll have to go back to work and try to pass Travis now just to get to Jeremy. So
Yeah, the last thing you want to have happen is end up like the Colleague Xfinity program, get a little too complacent on the road course side, and then have that start to fall away. But no, I mean, you've continued the run really well at these, and at a time where the points are at a premium, with this being the playoffs now, you stepped up, got a bunch of stage points, a bunch of points to carry into Bristol next week. Don't know if it officially locks you in after tonight.
I
I
don't think so.
can't do that math off the top of my head, but got to imagine you're feeling pretty comfortable going into Bristol, knowing that you put yourself in a really good spot after tonight.
Yeah, this was, just had to make no mistakes. I made the mistake on lap 1 where I about spun and just had to go wide so I didn't spin there and let Travis go. But we continued on and just, basically stayed pretty mistake free. That was my only off track of the whole day. That's what I needed. It was +2 to the cut line. I just needed really good points, third or second. I said going into this, top 3 or bust, basically. Really wanted second, but I had nothing for Travis. He was fast. He was almost just as fast as Jeremy. So third in the stage, third in the race. That's exactly what we needed. I think that puts us +18 to the cut. So we still have some work to do at Bristol, but we just need to put together another solid finish, solid race, and should be pretty comfortable there as long as nothing crazy happens. Knock on wood. We're looking a lot better for Bristol than I was last week. So
nice. I got to ask you while we're here. We were talking to Travis a moment ago. He was saying he's expecting Bristol to be chaos. What are your thoughts about what Bristol's going to be, or at least what it's going to be in relative scope to you and the 15 team?
I think it was pretty chaotic last time we went there. I expect it to be a little chaotic at first. Definitely with the playoffs, just things are ramped up a little bit more, and it's a cutoff race. So I expect there to be some aggression, but if we can get going for a little bit, I expect it to kind of simmer down. And if we can get a long run going, I expect it to be a really good race. It's just getting over those initial restarts and trying not to pile into everybody and stuff like that. So as long as we can stay level-headed and, stay green for a while, I expect it to stay green for a long time. But, it's Bristol. You never know what's going to happen.
That is certainly the truth of it. Well, Trevor, hey, great run for you again tonight here. Another podium finish here, going left and right. Anyone you'd like to shout out while you're up here in the booth?
I will think KSX Racing Graphics got them on the car all over the place, as Morgan likes to say. I think all the league sponsors, All About Bugs, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Coastal Financial, Chapman Environmental Services, Erhardt Homes, Buttkicker. I will thank all my teammates. They stick it out there. We're still going for the team championship, so they stick it out. Daniel and Jacob, they're out in playoffs. They still come in and work, and they still try to get better. Jacob had some really good speed. Unfortunately, wasn't able to show it today. Daniel had some good speed too. Got caught up in a wreck, I think. We just keep trying to get better as a team. So I think those guys, Justice keeps me calm throughout these things. He had a speeding penalty, or he would have been way higher. We got speed as a team. We just some things out of our control, some things in our control. But yeah, and you guys obviously as well.
Alrighty. Well, hey, Trevor, thanks for joining us up here again in the booth. Congrats on the podium finish tonight, and excited to see what you've got in store next week at that cutoff race at Bristol.
Oh yeah, put in the work. Try to stay up front, stay out of the chaos.
Alrighty. That was Trevor Keith, third place finisher here tonight. Ran third a good bit of the race, but had a lot of battling going on with the 77 to Grant Thorpe.
Absolutely, he did. But that is going to do it for our show this evening. Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series presented by Racing Revolution. It was a great one here tonight at Watkins Glen, the Aloe Barbershop, 110, Ithaca, New York. Let's have a look at the schedule going forward. Please join us September 25th as Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series travels to Thunder Valley for the final race of the round of 16 at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on V-Speed as we bring you flag-to-flag coverage all season long. And if you enjoyed tonight's race, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't miss a moment of the action. You found us, you might as well stick around a while. But more content throughout the entire week here. The VRX coming up on Friday, got QSR tomorrow, SNR on Saturday. I could go on and on and on, but we don't have time for that. Just go check out the channel. We appreciate all of your support, every single one of you at home. There's over 1,000 of us now subscribed, and let's make that number continue to grow higher. Also need to thank everyone at V-Speed, Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Bradley Cooper, and of course Alex Gagnon, who is kind enough to sit through me babbling for a couple hours every Wednesday and having a good time here on V-Speed. I've been Morgan Cook. Have a great evening. Thank you, and good night.
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.